Welcome to, everyone, welcome to your personalized deep dive into genomics research. We've got a really interesting mix of articles here.
Yeah.
News from News Medical and Bio-IT World, research summaries from Nature and the RNA-Seq blog. We even have a software release announcement from BioBAM, and it seems like they're all pointing to like this really exciting convergence of a lot of different technologies.
It is.
It looks like we're about to understand the genome in like a whole new dimension.
Absolutely.
From, pinpointing those rare disease mutations with incredible accuracy to like actually visualizing gene expression in 3D.
Yeah.
And of course, AI is like shaking things up as always.
Yeah, the speed at which these fields are moving is remarkable.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just a few years ago, thinking about, routinely using AI to diagnose genetic conditions or create personalized therapies.
Right.
It was practically science fiction.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming a reality.
So let's start with something that like really caught my eye.
Okay.
This News Medical article about the power of long reads in genome sequencing. Right.
It sounds like it's completely revolutionizing the diagnosis of rare diseases.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, traditional sequencing methods, they kind of have these limitations because they break DNA into small pieces.
Yeah.
Making it tough to analyze those complex regions where rearrangements or structural variations happen.
That's right. And it's kind of like trying to decipher a complex sentence when you only have a few letters of each word.
Right.
Long read sequencing gives us a much clearer picture because it analyzes longer stretches of DNA.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes thousands of base pairs at a time.
So we can finally actually see those large-scale genetic variations
Yeah.
that we might have missed before.
Yeah.
What kind of an impact is this having on diagnosing rare diseases?
The impact is significant. I mean, for many families who've been searching for answers, often for years.
I can imagine.
Long-read sequencing is actually providing definitive diagnoses.
Wow.
Ending their diagnostic odyssey.
That's amazing. And with that diagnosis comes the potential for better management counseling and even the development of therapies that are targeted specifically to that condition.
That's incredible to think about, like, the relief that this technology could bring to those families. It's not just about understanding the genome anymore.
Right.
It's about applying that knowledge to, like, make a real difference in people's lives.
It is.
This other article from the RNA-Seq blog, it talks about another fascinating technique, RNA tomography.
Okay.
Am I picturing a 3D map of gene expression within a cell? Is that close?
It's a good way to visualize it.
Okay.
It essentially allows us to see not only which genes are active,
Right.
but where their activity is happening within a cell or a tissue.
So instead of just knowing that, like a certain gene is switched on,
Right.
we can actually see where it's producing its RNA.
Yes.
And, potentially its protein product.
That's right.
Within the three-dimensional space of a cell.
That spatial context adds a whole other layer of understanding to how genes actually function and interact.
Right.
Think of it like this. Imagine, there's a party happening.
Okay.
But with RNA tomography, you can see which rooms are crowded, who's interacting with whom, and where the action is.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So it's not just about knowing a gene is active.
Right.
It's about understanding its role in this, intricate dance of cellular activity.
Exactly.
But how does this spatial information actually translate into useful insights?
Well, it opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
Okay.
For example, we can start to understand how changes in a gene's spatial location within a cell might influence its function.
Right.
Or how different genes are coordinated in space and time to, carry out specific cellular processes.
Okay.
It's a completely new way of looking at the dynamics of gene expression.
This same RNA-Seq blog article also mentions that researchers are using single-cell RNA sequencing to compare gene expression patterns across different species. So we're going beyond individual species now and looking at the bigger picture of how cells have evolved over time.
Yes, and it's incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
By comparing the gene expression profiles of different cell types across various species,
Right.
we can start to actually trace the evolutionary journey of cells,
Wow.
identifying common ancestors and seeing how different lineages diverged.
So it's like constructing a family tree, but for cells.
It is.
Are there any surprising discoveries coming out of this type of research?
Many, for example.
Yeah.
We're finding that certain cell types,
Okay.
which we might have thought were quite different based on their function in different organisms,
Right.
actually share a surprisingly deep evolutionary history.
Wow.
This suggests that these cells may have a more ancient origin than we previously thought,
Okay.
and their functions have diversified over time.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
This idea of tracing the evolutionary history of cells through their RNA expression is fascinating. It makes you realize that even though species have diverged over millions of years,
Right.
there's still a fundamental connection at the cellular level.
Absolutely.
And these connections can provide valuable insights into how different organisms develop, function, and respond to their environments.
Right.
It seems like we're moving beyond simply cataloging genes and
Yeah.
towards a much deeper understanding of how they orchestrate like the complexity of life from individual cells to entire ecosystems.
Yeah.
And speaking of changing the game, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, or perhaps I should say the algorithm in the computer.
Right.
AI is making a huge impact on like every field,
It is.
and genomics is no exception.
Definitely the ability of AI to analyze these massive data sets and
Yeah.
identify patterns.
Yeah.
It's revolutionizing the way we approach everything,
Right.
from diagnosing genetic conditions to developing new
I
drugs.
saw this article in BioIT World about Illumina partnering with NVIDIA to develop even more powerful AI tools for healthcare.
Right.
What kind of applications are they focusing on?
Their collaboration is focused on developing AI models that can analyze genomic data much faster and more accurately than ever before.
Okay.
This has huge implications for clinical diagnostics,
Right.
allowing for rapid identification of genetic mutations and personalized treatment recommendations.
So we're talking about AI being used to interpret your individual genome and guide medical decisions in real time?
Yes,
That's pretty remarkable.
it is.
But what about drug discovery? How is AI being used in that area?
One of the Nature articles highlighted how AI is being used to predict how different drugs might interact with specific genes or proteins,
Okay.
potentially identifying new drug targets
Wow.
and even predicting potential side effects.
So instead of the traditional trial and error approach,
Right.
we're moving towards a more targeted, computationally driven approach to drug discovery.
Yeah.
That could be a game changer, especially for complex diseases like cancer or Alzheimer's.
It's an exciting time to be working in this field.
It is.
With AI, we're not just analyzing data. We're using it to make predictions and guide experiments in a way that was unimaginable just a few years ago.
And it looks like software developers are keeping pace with all of this innovation.
They are.
This BioBam article, it talks about the release of OmicsBox 3.4, which includes advanced tools for cell type annotation in single-cell RNA sequencing.
Tools like this are essential for researchers to keep up with the deluge of data being generated by these new genomic technologies.
Yeah, for sure.
They allow scientists to analyze and interpret data more efficiently and accurately,
Right.
which ultimately accelerates the pace of discovery.
It sounds like we're in the midst of a genomic revolution.
We are.
With new technologies and approaches emerging at an incredible pace.
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine what the field will look like in another 5 or 10 years.
It's truly remarkable to witness the speed of progress.
Yeah.
And what's even more exciting is that we're just scratching the surface of what's possible
Right.
as we continue to unravel the complexities of the genome.
Yeah.
We're bound to uncover even more fascinating insights that will transform our understanding of life itself.
I completely agree.
You know, as we go deeper into these individual breakthroughs, it really strikes me how interconnected they all are.
Yeah.
We've been talking about, long reads, 3D gene mapping, AI, and even software development.
Right.
But these aren't isolated advancements.
Right.
They're all kind of feeding into each other,
Yeah.
accelerating our understanding of the genome
Yeah.
at an incredible pace.
It's like each discovery is a stepping stone leading to even greater insights.
Exactly. And this integration
Yeah.
is where I think we're going to see some of the most exciting breakthroughs in the coming years.
Yeah.
For example, imagine combining the power of long reads with AI-powered analysis.
Okay.
We could start to identify and interpret these complex genetic variations that were previously hidden,
Wow.
unlocking all these new diagnostic and therapeutic possibilities.
It makes me think about personalized medicine. If we can analyze an individual's genome with such precision,
Right.
we could potentially predict their risk for certain diseases,
Yes.
tailor treatments to their unique genetic makeup, and
Absolutely.
even monitor their response to therapy in real time.
We're moving towards a future where healthcare is truly personalized, predictive, and preventative.
Wow.
And this shift is being driven by the convergence of all these groundbreaking technologies in genomics.
It's incredible to think about all the possibilities,
Yeah.
but let's not forget about those fundamental questions
Right.
that genomics can help us answer.
Right.
You mentioned earlier this idea of tracing the evolutionary history of cells.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit more about that?
Sure.
What kind of insights can we gain from comparing gene expression patterns across different species?
One of the most fascinating aspects of comparative genomics is the ability to uncover the deep evolutionary relationships between different organisms
Okay.
by analyzing the similarities and differences in their genes and gene expression patterns.
Mm.
We can trace back common ancestors and understand how these different lineages diverged over millions of years.
So it's like constructing a family tree,
Yeah.
but for the entire tree of life.
It is.
Are there any specific examples of evolutionary discoveries that have come from this type of analysis?
One striking example involves the evolution of the eye.
Okay.
By comparing the genes involved in eye development
Okay.
across a wide range of species, from simple invertebrates to humans,
Yeah.
researchers have been able to trace the origins of this complex organ back to a surprisingly simple, light-sensitive structure in early organisms.
So even creatures with very rudimentary eyes
Yeah.
share a common genetic heritage with us.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. What other evolutionary secrets have been uncovered through this type of analysis?
Another fascinating area is the study of gene duplication.
Okay.
Over evolutionary time, genes can be duplicated,
Right.
creating additional copies
Right.
that can then evolve new functions.
So instead of inventing entirely new genes,
Right.
evolution sometimes just makes copies of existing ones and tinkers with them
Yeah.
to create new traits.
It's a remarkably efficient strategy.
That's pretty ingenious.
And by analyzing these duplicated genes across different species,
Right.
we can start to understand how these new functions arise
Okay.
and how organisms diversify.
It sounds like comparative genomics is giving us a whole new perspective on the interconnectedness of life.
Absolutely. And this understanding can have practical implications as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like
For example, by studying the genomes of organisms that have evolved resistance to certain diseases,
Okay.
we can gain insights into potential drug targets
Ah.
or therapeutic strategies for human diseases.
So the study of evolution isn't just like an academic exercise.
Right.
It can actually lead to real-world solutions for human health problems.
It's a testament to the power of basic research.
Yeah.
By exploring fundamental questions about the origins and diversity of life,
Right.
we often stumble upon unexpected discoveries that can have profound implications for human health and well-being.
This deep dive is really making me appreciate the vast scope of genomics research.
It is a vast field.
It's not just about genes anymore.
Right.
It's about understanding the intricate tapestry of life,
Yeah.
from the molecular level to the grand scale of evolution. It's mind-blowing.
It's a field that's constantly pushing the boundaries of knowledge,
Right.
and the pace of discovery is only accelerating.
And as we continue to delve deeper into the genome, I have no doubt that we'll uncover even more fascinating insights that will transform our understanding of life itself.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And who knows what incredible breakthroughs lie ahead.
Yeah.
Perhaps we'll finally unlock the secrets of aging, develop personalized therapies that eliminate disease, or even engineer organisms with entirely new capabilities.
It's an exciting time to be alive and witnessing these groundbreaking advancements in genomics.
Yes.
Speaking of exciting advancements, let's circle back to artificial intelligence for a moment. We talked about its role in drug discovery and diagnostics.
Right.
But what other areas of genomics research is AI impacting?
One area where AI is making a significant impact is in genome annotation.
Okay.
This involves identifying and characterizing the different functional elements within the genome, such as genes, regulatory sequences, and non-coding RNA.
So AI is helping us make sense of the vast amount of information encoded in our DNA.
Yeah.
But how does it actually work?
Well, AI algorithms, particularly machine learning algorithms,
Okay.
are incredibly powerful at recognizing patterns in complex data.
So by training an AI algorithm on vast data sets of genomic information,
Right.
we can teach it to identify the telltale signs of different functional elements within a genome.
Exactly. And as AI algorithms continue to improve,
Yeah.
they're becoming increasingly accurate at identifying and characterizing these elements,
Right.
even those that were previously hidden or difficult to detect.
It sounds like AI is becoming an indispensable tool for genomics researchers. It's not just about crunching numbers anymore. It's about using intelligent algorithms to make sense of the complexity of the genome.
Absolutely. And as these AI tools become more sophisticated, they'll undoubtedly lead to even more groundbreaking discoveries in genomics.
This conversation has really highlighted the incredible pace of innovation in genomics.
It is incredible.
It's like every week there's a new breakthrough, a new technology, a new insight
Yeah.
that's pushing the field forward.
It's a truly dynamic and exciting field to be a part of.
Yeah.
And I think we're just at the beginning of this genomic revolution.
It's hard to imagine what the field will look like in another 5 or 10 years.
I know, it's hard to even fathom.
But one thing is for sure, there are many more exciting discoveries to come.
I couldn't agree more, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for genomics.
It's pretty amazing to think about, how far we've come in genomics research.
Oh,
From sequencing that first human genome to now using AI to annotate genomes and even edit genes.
it really is a testament to human ingenuity.
Yeah.
And our curiosity to understand, like, the very building blocks of life.
And speaking of building blocks,
Right.
this whole concept of 3D gene expression mapping with RNA tomography,
Yeah.
it's really revolutionizing our understanding of how cells function.
It is. What's so fascinating here is that we're moving beyond this, like, static view of the genome
Right.
and into this dynamic spatial understanding of how genes are expressed
Yeah.
and how they interact within the three-dimensional environment of the cell.
It's like we're finally able to see the intricate choreography
Yeah,
of cellular processes unfolding in real time.
exactly. And this spatial information is crucial
Yeah.
for understanding how cells differentiate, communicate, and respond to their environment.
This makes me think about the potential for developing new therapies that target specific cellular processes or
Oh, yeah.
pathways.
That's a very insightful point. By understanding how genes are expressed and interact in different cell types,
Okay.
we can potentially develop more targeted and effective therapies for a wide range of diseases.
So we're not just talking about treating diseases at the genetic level anymore,
Right.
but intervening at the cellular level.
Yes.
Targeting those specific mechanisms that drive disease progression.
Precisely. And this is where the convergence of technologies like RNA, tomography, single-cell sequencing, and AI becomes incredibly powerful.
It's like we're putting together all the pieces of the puzzle, from the genome to the cell to the organism,
Yeah.
to create a truly holistic view of life.
And this holistic view
Yeah.
is what will ultimately enable us to develop more effective treatments, prevent diseases, and even enhance human capabilities.
Speaking of enhancing capabilities, gene editing is a topic that always sparks a lot of debate.
It does.
What are your thoughts on the ethical implications of this technology?
Well, gene editing is this powerful tool with immense potential,
Right.
but it also raises some, important ethical considerations.
Yeah,
We need to carefully consider the potential benefits and risks of gene editing,
of course.
particularly when it comes to germline editing,
Right.
which involves making changes to DNA that can be passed down to future generations.
It's a complex issue with no easy answers.
It is.
We need to, engage in open and honest conversations as a society
I agree.
to ensure that these technologies are used responsibly and ethically.
I completely agree. We need to establish clear guidelines and regulations
Yeah,
to ensure that gene editing is used for the benefit of humanity
right.
and doesn't exacerbate existing inequalities or create new ones.
It's a delicate balance
It is.
between harnessing the power of these technologies for good
Right.
while also safeguarding against potential misuse.
But I remain optimistic about the future of gene editing. I believe that with careful consideration and responsible governance,
Yeah.
we can harness this technology
Yeah.
to address some of humanity's most pressing challenges.
This deep dive has been an incredible journey through the world of genomics.
It has.
From the fundamental building blocks of DNA to the vast complexity of cellular processes and the grand sweep of evolution.
Really has been a fascinating exploration.
It's clear that this field is rapidly advancing,
Yeah.
and the pace of discovery is only accelerating.
And with each new breakthrough,
Yeah,
we're gaining a deeper understanding of the fundamental principles of life
right.
and opening up all these new possibilities for improving human health and well-being.
It's an exciting time to be alive and witnessing these transformative advancements in genomics.
Absolutely.
As we continue to explore the vast landscape of the genome, who knows what incredible discoveries lie ahead?
The possibilities are truly endless, and I, for one, am eager to see what the future holds.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive for today.
I agree.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring these fascinating topics with us,
We have.
and that you'll continue to follow the exciting developments in this rapidly evolving field.
Yes, there's much more to come.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery. Until next time.